Hello consumers, I'm Eltari, the professional gamer, and today we are going to talk about the freshly minted lore AMA from the mainframe developers, as well as some of the gameplay mechanics that the devs have alluded to. There is a lot to go over, and we will be taking a deep dive into the lore in the next week or two, so be sure to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell to be updated when all of our videos go live, as well as to help get the word out about our small startup channel. We also have a growing Discord community of consumers. If you are looking for the best place to interact with the professional gamer, this is the place. Join using the link down below. The first 100 consumers to join will get the exclusive early adopter tag, so be sure to head over before they run out. Housekeeping aside, I hope you are hungry for some hopium. Let's get into some meat and potatoes. On March 14th, Mainframe posted their first set of answers for the community AMA on lore. There was a collective sigh heard throughout all of the halls when there was so little information dropped. Even then, what we got was incredible. But our fears were held at bay, and at dawn on the second day, Olam dropped a cavalry's worth of lore and gameplay hints. Between these two towers worth of information dumps, we have a lot to talk about. So check down below for timestamps and feel free to jump to whatever tickles your interest. While you're there, be sure to leave a comment about what part of the lore you are most excited for. The first day's information drop included an in-world excerpt from Firebrand Silas of Anatolia. It reads, "When the transgressions of man against the divine seem to have become irreversible, and evil has managed to consume and corrupt every living being, she creates a new slab of earth on top of the old one, burying everyone and everything, and creates a new iteration of her beloved but sometimes neglected creation. As far as we are concerned, this has happened 9 times, creating in the process 9 circles of hell. Evil, however, does persist despite the divine's efforts to bury it. Each time a new creation has been added, banished outcasts from heaven and earth add to the ever-growing hordes of evil that govern the disks of the underworld. There, the history is unbroken, the hatred is ever-growing, and the power of anger is unrelenting and fresh." We have interpreted this as a sort of creation account made by a non-player character known as Firebrand Silas. There seems to be some familiar motifs to this story, as it is almost also drawing similarities to Dante's Inferno from the Divine Comedy, where there are 9 levels of hell, each concentric circle further away from the divine and more wicked as a result. So what does this little lore snippet tell us? According to Olam, Pax Dei is not Earth in any current or previous state. Pax Dei is not geographically, culturally, nor historically linked to anything we might know. The world can, however, mirror what we know. Locations, cultures, mythos, and legends can all be parallel to ours. As a result, we might be able to glean some insight into what the world will include. Olam indicated that the main thread for Pax Dei will be from the lens of somewhere in Europe. There will be fables and myths plucked from the perspectives of what medieval peoples see to be very real. For example, Anatolia, in the real world, was a part of Asia Minor, which in modern times makes up parts of Turkey. It is located along the Aegean Sea. Saint Silas is a biblical character who is attributed to the Christian faith as a martyr after his travels to Thessaly. The 9 circles of hell, as derived from Dante's Divine Comedy, is a medieval/early Renaissance work of writing and a great example of how allegory was used during the Middle Ages. The 9 circles of hell were not created the same way between Pax Dei and the Divine Comedy, nor was Saint Silas a firebrand who recalled creation stories. Anatolia does not exist in Pax Dei except for possibly a name of a geographical feature or player-made creation. I find this to be truly freeing. The infusion of lore, mythos, and even religion from the real world without locking into a specific time, place, or explanation instantly creates a level of familiarity to the consumer. A great reference for the use of familiarity to create highly consumable fiction would be from J.R.R. Tolkien and his Lord of the Rings. There is a familiarity with the characters and people even without direct association to the real world. places, or events. This is a very powerful concept that I believe the developers of Mainframe should continue to utilize while creating their world. Let me know down below if you want to know more about how these real-world locations, people, and text could affect the lore of Pax Dei in the context of their actual history. Olam then discussed collecting lore and how they see players and the community participating in this endeavor. In summary, they want to empower the community to create their own resources to share information that has been gathered. They made this distinguishment between character information and player information. From what the professional gamer can gather, character information is specific information that the player character will need, i.e. skills and knowledge, which we will talk about in a later section, so stay tuned. Player information is kind of like meta information. It's what will guide our decision making in game. An example is knowing that according to a manuscript you found in some ruins, that you should go left when you make it to a forked ravine located in a nearby dungeon. The character doesn't get direct skill benefit from this knowledge, but the player can use it to determine their next course of action. I believe that having more player information is going to truly distinguish Pax Dei in the next generation of MMORPGs. Olam then divulged some information about character backgrounds. They claim that our avatars will be a tabula rasa of sorts. You are who you choose to be in game. Farmers are people who farm. Demon hunters are people who study demonology and explore the darkest areas of the world. Do you hate giving presents in holiday cheer? Well, then you are the Grinch. Your actions and how the community see you are yours to own. This is really cool. And you're not just a main character. You're someone who's in the world. People will get to know you by your accolades in game. The devs show they are more concerned about enshrining Pax Dei in the annals of great MMORPGs than they are at inserting personal jokes that people won't be able to understand. They did state that there will be references to many real-world things to pay respect to through either direct or indirect fashions. Next, the developers took a deep dive into dungeons and some gameplay ideologies and lore. They stated that all of their dungeons are steeped in lore, mystery, and purpose. As a result, all of them will be handcrafted and catered to be difficult and unforgiving. They state that just because you find a dungeon doesn't mean you can complete it, and that exploration of a dungeon will be a stepwise process where you learn its mechanics over multiple attempts. Knowing that all dungeons will be open world and some may even be PvP enabled, you can imagine the perils and tension involved in delving further into a dungeon or setting up a temporary camp to rest as you adventure into the deep dark depths. Dungeons will have enemies and potentially big bads in them too, but there is no guarantee that if you accomplish certain tasks, you will complete the dungeon. As we covered in the original developer Q&A I published last week, there will be skill associated with these dungeons, and the devs expect there will be dungeon guides selling their services to less experienced adventurers. If this and many of the other topics that the devs have spoken about interests you, please check out our original video on everything we know about Pax Dei. Lore, like the excerpts published in the Dev AMA concept art and information found on the Pax Dei website, are all considered canon if it is from a developer. Originally, in-game lore will be uncovered from items and NPC names, descriptions, names of places, different old structures, and visual cues. Eventually, though, this system will expand to books.
Isn't this amazing? It's my favorite part because you'll see.
Yes, you got that right. We will have people running through your sweet provincial town like Bell. Books are going to be important for the economy and crafting, as well as not being giant walls of text to read through. Recipes and lore snippets should be gleaned from books. Books will take part in appointment play, not in terms of that dental appointment you have put off again. Appointment play is a developer term used for mechanics that ask a player to return after an amount of time has passed to generate more user involvement and playtime. More importantly, The part the professional gamer is most excited over: libraries. Any great city should have a great library. I can see the city planners of the Golden Company planning out the great black marble and gold halls that will attract scholars from across the land to share information and grow their knowledge together. The developers have also stated that the scope of books is taken from medieval times. Libraries were incredibly valuable. Some operated under the authority of the church. When you entered a library, it meant you were also in the household of someone influential, making you influential as well. Books were believed by medieval writers to have spiritual, divine, supernatural, or otherwise magical properties. Writers would literally etch out the eyes on illustrations of demons as they feared peering into the eyes could harm their eternal souls. Additionally, creating books is super expensive. From this, we can elucidate that books will be a rare commodity. They will perhaps grant temporary ability to craft new items or gain certain skills. People will seek out this knowledge, and they will not become less useful over time. That means maintaining books could be a gameplay mechanic, as well as reading texts to unlock certain character information like crafting recipes. The developers did not go further than that, but for now we are very, very excited. All interested librarians, scholars, and historians should definitely consider joining the Great Library Project within the Golden Company. The final major subject was magic. Mainframe gave players a definitive definition of magic in Pax Dei and how different gameplay will be teased from these schools. There is the natural world, which is everything in the current iteration of creation. The extra-natural world, which are things or beings from previous creations but have survived. Then there is the supernatural, which is something outside of creation that comes from the spirit world but can manifest in the physical. These entities can come from powers other than the divine. All of these aspects will be a normal place for characters who live in Pax Dei, and the devs want to bring magic into the world in a way that would seem natural, as it will be commonplace. The developers then delve deeper into magic, speaking of its different colors. Magic is in essence spirit power that was extracted from the elements of creation such as earth, water, air, and fire, and can be manipulated. The divine gave spirit to living things and translated some magic to them as a result. Divine magic is the manipulation of the elements. Dark magic is similar in using the elements but comes from a desire to outdo creation. Demonic magic will draw energy, possibly requiring sacrifices for players who desire to use it in gameplay. I can see trees and plants withering and dying as a player attempts to summon a lesser demon. Then there is druidic magic. This uses life force to manipulate the forces of creation, but as a result, it does not tap into the powers of the divine or the Dark Lord, and is thereby undetectable as it does not employ spirit. Lastly, shamanic magic uses spirits within the natural world to manipulate life forces directly. It does not affect the elements of creation, but it will not go unnoticed by the supernatural. We will be coming out with a whole video on magic in the future and everything that we know about its gameplay mechanics. Be sure to subscribe to get notified when we post. Tell me down in the comments about what type of magic you are most excited for and want to learn more about. The names used in the world will be from ancient history. Though the devs stated that they might allude to in-game events, nobody actually knows why certain places are the way they are. This is great as it leaves us the players to infer meaning, but also leaves room for clever interpretations of history and what they might be in Pax Dei. The developer announced the first region we will explore in the alpha is called Gallia, of which there will be at least 2 heartlands, one called Mary and the other Caries. We as players will name all of the farms, villages, outposts, castles, or lands consolidated under alliances. There's a lot to digest in just that sentence, as the developer just spontaneously announced castles, outposts, and larger player alliances as a part of gameplay for Pax Dei. We expect to hear more on these topics in future developer AMAs. Let us know in the comments how you want castles, outposts, and alliances to work for both PvE and PvP in Pax Dei. The developer did not want to reveal too much, and instead gave us part of an ancient text of the first comprehensively written description of the world and its creation. We plan on delving deeper into the lore in the coming weeks and as more information is revealed. If you want to learn about the lore of Pax Dei and go off the historical deep end with us in our own headcanon, please remember to like and subscribe to help us out and also to be notified the next time we post a video. Thank you very much for sticking it out with us this far, consumers. We hope you have a great rest of the week, and until next time, this is Altari, the Professional Gamer.